Hello everybody, December 7th. Just talked to you in the feeding the worms video, but we're going to sift the worms today. Been talking about doing this for a month. The time has come. So here's one hand, here's two hands. We're probably going to sift to about here because we've got a lot of castings here, and they're ready to go. They've been ready to go for a while. So let's do it. So we're going to take a really good bunch out of here. I fed to here. So as always, I'm gonna take these. There'll be cocoons, there'll be baby worms, there'll be mature worms, and we'll just dump them back in there. We're gonna get a pretty good harvest out of this. And I am going to do the double sift again. And what comes out of the second, what's still above the screen on the second sifting, will go into another gray bin for the start of a new bin. The moisture is great in here. It's perfect for sifting. This bin has been aerated and treated along the way in order to sift it, and it really works quite well. So I'd like to encourage everybody to comment and like and subscribe and share and hit the notification button if you want notifications when we do new videos, put up new videos. Our channel's really growing. I'm not getting monetized yet. I'm not even close. Maybe someday, but not yet. Let's face it, I've only really been doing this worm videos and stuff since beginning of October, middle of October, I guess, and it's now January. So I'm not a techie YouTube guru that knows how to get everybody to come over, but I just hope I give you enough information that you spread the words and tell people that we're having fun over here. Check it out. And it's not all just about trying to get YouTube to notice what we're doing. It's about, to me, it's more about learning to do worms, learning as I go, sharing my experiences. I watch a lot of other people's worm videos also, guys, and I never come away from any of them without anything. I mean, they might not be doing the system that I'm doing. I still get something out of it. I always get something out of it. So I throw my first overs back into this bin, and there's a lot of cocoons and a lot of baby worms and a lot of mature worms in here. In those overs. But that inoculates the back of the bin. When I do that, like all the dry paper and all the area that is maybe not as active is definitely going to get activated. Like we're getting a lot of stuff out of here. Oh, there's a piece of string. Yeah. Is it? It's got glitter on it. Never seen that before in there. So, new people along the way probably wondering, what do I do with the castings? It's the middle of winter, and yeah, nobody's really gardening and nobody's doing anything. So what do I do with the castings? Well, I put them in these buckets like this, and then I put a worm trap in them, and I try to catch the worms as they hatch. And that's going to be another video of the last one that we did the last time. We should be able to start catching worms in that last one. And then it's the same deal in this. These castings will have cocoons in them. And the cocoons will hatch. Excuse me. Come on. And sometimes you even just get fully grown worms that go for the ride and get through the screen. And it happens. Not a big deal. Because we're going to set the worm trap to trap any worms that are going to be in the castings over time. Like, it's going to take some months, but they do. They do head for the traps. And then you can take that and you can throw it into your new bin. And it's pretty interesting because it doesn't take very long, and all of a sudden you've got another bin that's getting very active. So the plans for the castings. Well, I own a small farm in southern Saskatchewan, and I'm in an area where it's very depleted due to erosion and old-time farming practices that maybe weren't the easiest on soil structure, aka tillage, guys. Tillage is hard on soil structure because you break up all the organic material and you release all the carbon, and it really depletes the land if you continuously do it. Anyways, I'm not here to give a massive lesson on soil structure, but it is in my plan to make worm compost, worm casting tea on a large scale. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gallons, and then diluting that with water, putting it into an agricultural sprayer, and broadcast spraying it in a very liberal way, I guess you should say. Put it. It's about 20 gallons an acre of the diluted mix, 20 to 30 gallons, and that releases, or should release, some of the biology that's in the worm castings to the soil. And in turn, when you release the biology and the microbes to the soil, you are reintroducing what's missing, what's gone, what's eventually gone from our system because we've tilled it too much. See all these balls? It's not that they're stuck together hard. That's when you know your moisture is almost too wet to be doing the sifting. But we're not too bad. We're going to continue, because we've got to get some of this stuff out of here. Like, this bin's been ready to sift for 2 weeks. And if you don't sift it on time, what happens is then your castings get really, really moist, because they really retain moisture. Castings retain moisture very well. And so if you go past too far where you should be sifting them, you almost have to take the lid off of your bin and dry them right out, because the castings will start sucking up atmospheric moisture from the atmosphere. and then they never seem to dry up. Like they, not in a covered situation. Like they're easy to get to turn to mud balls, and once they start turning to mud balls, they're not going to sift. So anyway, there's a way of dealing with it. You just got to dry stuff out, but we're getting a really good amount of harvest out of this, and I'm happy with it. And then when we're done, we're going to turn this bin up, and we're going to give them some fresh bedding. And when you give a worm bin this size and this activity fresh bedding, and you've inoculated all of the back of the bin and everything's happening, you have a massive jump in activity. Okay, so 1 hand, 2 hand. That's the amount of worm castings we've taken out of here. Now I'm just gonna turn this. Like here's my food that I just fed. So I'm just gonna turn this to this end. And look at the worms in here. Like, this is fun, guys. There's a lot of worms in here. So we're not going to move the food with them. We're going to leave the food to the back. So we'll just bring this stuff over here, because now that it's there, I mean, you're never going to get it all out. Okay, now we're just going to go like this. Move all the food that we put in there like that. Move it this way. Put some bread, some fresh. And we're going to move this. And look at the room we've made in here. So now that being done, here's a banana stem. And actually, you know, it's starting to break down and get shorter. I just keep sticking it back in. Okay. Fun bin to play with, guys. Really, really fun bin to play with. So the moisture's been good. And in this bin, I have not concentrated too hard on putting prepared bedding in before. And I've done some. You've seen me do it. But I'm just going to throw dry back there. Oh, here's that guy trying to get back in the wet stuff here, buddy. Okay, so now in throwing dry back there, of course, you see how much, well, maybe you didn't see how much. If you go back and check the feeding the worms for January 7th, 2024, once I get it all loaded up, you'll see how much I fed them. So I've fed them a pretty good feeding. And that stuff's all frozen and all carrying moisture. So when I do that, it puts moisture in my bin. And works pretty good, because the paper then starts getting moist just from the condensation, right, of the bin. And this stuff's pretty much toast. We'll just put it there because it's pretty toasted dead. They've really gone through paper. And that's what tells you got baby worms, because baby worms love paper. You know, it's, I don't know what it is, but something about paper attracts baby worms. some more. Are they like big? That. Here, there you go. Our bin is set back up to do its thing for the next probably 2-3 weeks, and then we'll have to be sifting again, maybe a month. We left it go a little longer this time, and we definitely got more out of it. So, leave no worm behind. Bring them in, bring them back to the bin. Make sure that anybody that's gone out with the plastic comes, and the paper that's out on the lid comes back in. Don't want to have stranded. So, there you go. There we go. So now I'm leaving this end slightly open. Like there's plastic here, there's paper there. But I'm leaving this end slightly open because what that's going to do is it's going to start drying that castings back here. And the worms are going to go back to the feed zone that are in here. And I mean, you're never going to get them all out, but that's how they move along in a horizontal migration bin. And that's one part of it. Now I'll pause you and we'll go do the second screening. Okay, we're back. I'm going to reverse these. So I am going to sift into this one. This is the second screening. Second screening of the worm castings. I'm hoping maybe this time the camera's close enough that I can show you how much cocoons and stuff goes into the new bin. So when you're doing the second screening, don't try to take everything out. There's a cocoon. There's a cocoon. There's a cocoon. Cocoon there. So, and there's a likely cocoons going in here too. So I've got 3 bins here right now. I got the bin that we're taking it out of, that we sifted in. I got the bin that we're doing the second sifting into. And I've got a bin that I'm starting a new bin. Okay, there's some cocoons. You know, I'm not saying that you're catching them all, but you catch quite a few on that second sifting. You definitely catch enough to start another bin. It's amazing how much you get. So there's a cocoon. There's a cocoon. And on the second sifting, it's just a quick, it's just a quick go through. Cocoon. Yeah, there's likely cocoons getting through here, but there's a lot less getting through here. I started doing that because it was taking so many trappings. There's cocoon. Cocoon. It was taking so long to get of trappings to get the the baby worms out of the casting. It was taking 3 months. And I can't tell you how much I shortened it up because I only started doing the second sifting not that long ago. I think we did it on the last one. I think I did it on the time before that. But before that, I was just sifting them once. And it really, really was taking a long time. Cocoon. And you know what? Sometimes they just don't jump out at you. But they're there. Cocoon. Baby worm, baby worm. There's small worms that are getting caught up in here too. So you're not just putting cocoons into your new bin. You're putting baby worms in also. So that's a real jump start on your new bin, right? And it really develops quickly. In the matter of a couple of months, you're seeing worms in your new bin, like just going bonkers. And it's like some people just throw the castings out in the garden, and that's fine. If you're just doing gardening and I've got a pretty big project going on with what I'm going to do at the farm, so I need a lot of castings, and I need a lot of worms, and I need a lot of, like, I'm growing. I want to go large scale, so I got to get out of the bins and get into windrows. Well, to get into windrows, I need lots of worms. So I'm trying not to waste the ones I'm getting, I guess. I don't know how to put it. I don't just want to throw them back out with the castings. I want to harvest them and cocoon. This stuff's got a lot of cocoons in it. And don't think this is because I do this. I'm telling anybody what to do. I'm just telling you what I do. I've got projects that I want to do in spring at the farm, which are big projects. There's a lot of cocoons up here. I need a lot of worms. So that's why I'm kind of concentrating on producing more worms. And in that, I'm getting the bonus. I'm saving up those castings till spring, so I can start with one of my projects of the worm tea and spreading it out on the land. And I'm going to do that in strips so that people can see the difference. Cocoon, 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 cocoons. There's a lot of them. So out of each cocoon, you can get anywhere from 3, 5, 7 worms, they say. I don't know. To be honest, I've never seen one open up and the worms come out of it. In my operation, I mean, if you go on YouTube, you'll find somebody that wants to spend the time. I don't have that kind of time. Got too many other things to do. Can't wait for the video to catch cocoon. So what happens, like this moisture is perfect because it kind of clogs the screen up almost. So then the cocoons can't get through. So there's a lot of cocoons. There's one there, one there, one there. And I'd never say I'm getting them all. And I know I'm not. Because if I was to look in here, I'm sure I'd find cocoons. I'm just going to find less of them because the first setup, the first sifting we took, And we left lots in the original bin when we just threw it back into the original bin and re-inoculated the back into the bin with our overs the first time. Now I will show you how much the difference is. Like, I'm not taking a whole bunch out of the castings, but I'm obviously taking some. I'm not trying to take it right down there. There's a cocoon that made it through right there. Put him back in. See my hand? I'd rather him going that way than that way. Okay, so there's cocoon, cocoon. Okay, the one I threw in, there's one there. That's a big one. One there. You know, there's lots I'm not seeing too, so you know, with every screen full, I'm probably putting 10, 20, 30 cocoons in to the new bin. Plus how many little worms that I'm not seeing, because they're there, that you just gotta really, really search for them to find them. And when I get done with the bin that it's coming out of, I will hopefully be able to show you on the plastic what I mean by how small they are. Sometimes they're there, sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. Alright, cocoon. There's some cocoons in there. And you know, there's one. Sometimes they just don't show up to the eye right away, but they're there. Okay, I'm going to pull this. I'm going to set this in here. No, not in here. I'm going to set this in here. Okay. There's a worm. There's a worm. And I mean, they are small. And when you take and you empty out a plastic container, the little guys really seem to stick to the plastic. Now, how I'm going to get them out, I'll show you. You don't do it with your bare hand. Cocoon, 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 cocoon. Okay. Cocoon. Okay. Done with the screen. This is going to be set up with a worm trap. I may just, oh, there's a cocoon right there. We'll just put them over here. I may just amalgamate this with my last ones so that it can all, I only got one bin, and we'll show you that thing too. All right. This is my castings. This is castings and going to a new bin, and I'm hoping, like, there's going to be baby worms and there's going to be cocoons in this stuff too. That's why we set up a worm trap in there. This one is cocoons and baby worms and the overs. See, like, there's a worm. It made it through this first sifting and it stayed in the second sifting, and it's going to be in this bin to help start up. Okay, so we're going to set this guy over here out of the road. This is our overs that we're setting up the new bin with. And I don't know if you can tell or see them in there. Cocoon. Yeah, anyway, not going to waste too much time looking for them because they're there. So, I told you that I'd show you how to get those baby worms out of the other bin and into that bin. Because if you do it with your bare hand, you're going to damage them. You're going to kill them. So I take some of my prepared bedding. It's been preparing for a couple of weeks, and I go like this. And I swirl. And I basically just rub the worms off, and they get caught up in the bedding. And then I dump them into here, because we got to add the bedding to this anyways. So what's the big deal, right? That's once. Still seeing a few worms. Don't be scared to rub around. And what that does is it peels them off the plastic and they get caught up in the bedding without damaging and getting crushed. Because if you touch them with your bare hand, they start rolling and they roll into a ball and they die. So, okay, I'd say probably good on that. Okay, look, all of a sudden I got a bed. I got a bed of worms and a new bunch of cocoons to hatch, and we're going to mix all this stuff up, inoculate it with the worm castings. The miracle stuff, right? Don't get too aggressive. Throwing paper back into the castings. Okay. So, mix it up. The moisture is really good in here. It's actually really wet. And I've added more moisture with the paper and the coffee and the pre-bedding. So I'm just going to take another handful and I'm just going to cover up what we just put mixed up. And we're going to call that the guys, worms and cocoons, baby worms and cocoons, January 7th, 2024. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button if you want us to, if you want to know when we have new videos come out so that you're notified. I'm going to cover these guys up with plastic and go build them a label, and the next time you see them will be next week when we do the checking of the worms. And have a great day, have a great week, have a great year, because we're at the beginning of the new year, and I hope everybody a very prosperous new year. It's a time of starting over and getting projects done and making plans and getting her done. And I think we got a lot of plans in the works here, and we're going to have some fun this year. And we're going to take you for a ride along the way and show you what we're doing and if we get any results. Here, I'll go like this for a minute. I know everybody just wants to see my ugly mug, but they say putting their face to your activity connects people in ways that we don't know. So hopefully everybody enjoys what we're doing. We're going to have another one about the worm castings and trap. I'm keeping all this stuff separate because otherwise these videos would be 2 hours long and everybody get bored and you'd never see the end of it because that'd be too much. Okay, I got to clean my mess up or I'm going to be in trouble. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.